So I'm a lawyer too. So this is a story about one wild and precious life. It's me on a Shetland pony with my father in the front door of our house in South Texas. This little town of Falfurrias, supposedly in Lapan Indian, means land of heart's delight. Well, from my perspective, it was a tough place to be raised. It was an honor culture, and you needed to be ready to fight on the school grounds and fight your way home from school. And from my view of things, everything either stung you, bit you, or stuck you. So how did I get from there to here? So this is me presenting programs on nonviolent communication in various places around the world on dispute resolution. So this is part of the story of how this happened. So here's a fellow, me, with long hair. A year before, I had really short hair, and I was one of the top students in my ROTC program. And then I began leading protests against the Vietnam War. It also includes being a lawyer, and here I am with fellow clerks in the San Francisco Superior Court. But it also includes raising a family. Part of my family's here. One of my sons, Cam, is here. My son Miles was here earlier. And we raised these children in not South Texas, but in San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge, there with their mother and myself. It also included working with a fellow named John Kenyon, which our collaboration began in about 2002. 4 months after 9/11, we went on a trip together to Pakistan. And we talked our way into doing the presentation, or doing a training for 3 days in an Afghan refugee camp for 25 of the elders of this camp. We spent 3 days with them. The U.S. State Department was telling all Americans to leave Pakistan because it was too dangerous. And they said, whatever you do, don't go to the northern part, which is where we went. We spent this time, the first 2 days with these men, was mainly hearing their pain of all the money and the armaments that the U.S. had provided for Charlie's War to oppose the covert war to oppose the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. Here are some of the men we were with. The third day of this training, one of the men asked us, or invited us, to come to the mosque to pray that afternoon. The next person that spoke said, no, they can't go. They're not Muslim. And my colleague John Kenyon leaned over to me and said, we have found our conflict. My reaction was, John, are you out of your mind? People get killed for things like this around here. So we did spend the next 3 hours mediating this invitation, and it was resolved to the enthusiastic response of everyone in the room. So enthusiastic we could hardly get people to leave. We did this, ironically enough, in a building that was sponsored by the American Civil Liberties Union. This was our interpreter on the right there, Abid. There were 8 languages in the room, and he was doing his best to try to make sense between English and Pashto. The quote from the senior elder of this group of men we were with was that if we could do this meaning this kind of conflict resolution, that we would have no need for war. So it was at this point that my collaboration with John Kenyon was formed, and we began to develop this training, and we've taken it now to Korea, to Poland, to the Netherlands, to Australia, and around the U.S. in its 1-year form, and in shorter forms to 14 countries in total. We originally called it NVC Mediation Immersion Program. It's a one-year training program. We've since changed it because we realized it was more than NVC, standing for Nonviolent Communication. But it was also about figuring out what it was that were your dreams and what you wanted to do to make those dreams come true. So we changed the name to Mediate Your Life, the metaphor being that you can navigate these conflicts that you have within your own head and that you have with other people, and that you can support other people to resolve. So we changed the name, and we realized that it was about this one wild and precious life, that in addition to all the other things, it was about figuring out what you wanted to do with your life, and then also having the courage to actually do what you were dreaming. So it's profoundly affected my life. I live in New Haven now. It's affected how I savor my life, my art, my photography, painting. It's not as if I don't have any regrets, like maybe those shorts. I might not ever wear those again. But this approach also deals with the courage to do what you dream about doing. And as this quote says, boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So I invite you to mediate your life, to reach out for your dreams, and to make them happen. Thank you very much.